2024 was a great year for Terraria, as we ended up getting a ton of information about the 1.4.5 update, new collaborations, and more. But more importantly, the modding community also had a great year, as we ended up getting a ton of amazing Terraria mods. So, just like I did with 2023, I thought it would be the perfect time to go through some of the best content and quality of life mods we got in 2024. To start out, we have the Macrocosm mod, which allows you to build a spaceship to travel to various planets, like the moon, while also adding in new weapons, bosses, and more. After that, we have the Terra Roguelite mod, which changes the game from the open world experience Terraria normally is, into a roguelite game like The Binding of Isaac, where you go through over 150 different rooms as you pick up items to try and progress through the game. Then we have the Better Caves mod, which takes Terraria's caves and completely reworks them, making them feel more realistic. This mod also pairs amazingly with the Orchid Mineshaft mod, which will add abandoned mineshafts to these new huge caves. After that, we have the Kirby Transformation mod, which, just like it sounds, allows you to turn into Kirby. This not only changes the movement to be like the Kirby games, but you can also eat enemies to get the various versions of Kirby from the game, like using an underworld enemy to turn into the fire one. Next up, we have a mod that adds a ton of content while staying true to what Terraria is, which is Terraria Expanded. This mod aims to stay close to the vanilla Terraria feel while still adding a ton of new content, like 435 new items, new NPCs with new stores, ways to progress throughout the game, quality of life changes, and much more. Since the mod is meant to expand vanilla Terraria, you won't have to go out of your way to find these new features like you would with Calamity. Instead, you will be able to find them as you progress through the game like normal, keeping that core Terraria experience. For our next mod, we have a huge one, which is Terraria Origins. This mod pack is more along the lines of a normal content mod pack, but everything it adds is done amazingly. To start, there are over 8 new biomes, with 2 of those actually being evil biomes, like the Corruption, meaning it will slowly take over your world. There's also a ton of new features that allow for interesting new ways to progress through the game, like the assimilation items, item synergies, NPC quests, and much more. As for the items, Origins adds in a ton of items of almost every single type, with there being over 100 new accessories alone. Just like the biomes, each of their new items are also beautifully put together, and you can really see that in the weapons, animated item icons, and more. And of course, a content mod wouldn't be complete without new bosses, with Origins adding in 3 new bosses, each of which all have amazing animations, tricky fights, and great loot to help you continue progressing through the game. Moving on to the next mod, we have a small and simple mod that can add a lot of life to your game, which is NPC Warfare. This mod groups up all of the enemies into various factions based on what they are, and then allows those factions to fight each other. This allows you to do some neat things, like forcing bosses to fight each other for you, or watch as enemies fight as you explore. The creator of the mod also made it to where you can easily change various configs about the factions and specific enemies. And they also made it to where you can make your own custom faction if you wanted, just like the creator did with the Consolaria mod, which adds in all of the console exclusive content that got removed. Arguably, the biggest mod for Terraria is Calamity mod. And while it originally came out years ago, in 2024, 3 new versions of it ended up getting published. The first one was the 1.0 version of Calamity, reworked to work on the current version of T-Modloader, allowing you to easily see what Calamity was originally like back when it was released in 2016. As for the second and third new versions of Calamity, we ended up getting the 1.7.7 and 1.2 versions of Calamity reworked and re-released for the current version of TModLoader. Regardless of what version you choose to play, it's an easy way to see what the old versions of Calamity looked like, and I hope to see more mods do this in the future. And for the final content mod, before we start going over the quality of life mods, we have one with the sole purpose of annoying you, while also making the game harder, which is Terraria. This mod was made in 4 hours, and while not as popular compared to some of the other mods I covered, I still wanted to include it, as there's barely any other mods that do the same thing. Like I already said, its goal is just to annoy you, while also making the game harder. And it does that by giving you a text pop-up each time you break a block, making most of the text fully capitalized, allowing all projectiles to hit everything, doubling the chance for events like blood moons, changing how knockback works, and some more changes. But the changes this mod brings is only one part, as it also totally removes things like reforging your weapons, healing from the nurse, and more. Getting to the quality of life mods now, we first have Where's the 1%? One of the biggest issues you can have in Terraria is when your evil biome gets down to 1%, as a lot of the time it ends up being tucked away in a spot you can't find. But luckily, this mod solves this problem by giving you a magic mirror to bring you to the nearest evil biome, alongside a compass to direct you to the evil biome, allowing you to finally find that stubborn last bit of corruption or crimson. After that, we have a huge quality of life mod that allows you to tweak almost any part of the game, which is QOL 3000. This mod starts by adding in things like event updates in the chat, new text on consumable upgrades to let you know if you've already used it, boss summoners for bosses that don't normally have one, like Plantera, and many other small tweaks. But it also has a huge menu that allows you to customize these quality of life features to your liking. This year, we also got a good bit of slot-based quality of life mods, like potion slots. This adds in 3 new slots for healing, mana, and teleportation potions, allowing you to easily use them with the click of a hotkey. There's also Offhand slot, which allows you to easily switch between 2 different items with the click of a hotkey, which is super helpful in boss fights. And for the final slot-based mod, we have Music Box slot, which adds in a new slot solely for music boxes, so that way you can listen to whatever music you want, while also not wasting an accessory slot. The last few quality of life mods are all pretty small, but still extremely nice to have, so I'm just gonna group them all up here and quickly go through all of them at once. First up, we have Munchies, which gives you a list to show you what permanent consumables you've used, and which ones you still can use. Then we have Generated Housing, which adds in a house at your world spawn, complete with storage, and even magic storage if you have that mod installed as well. And finally, for the last mod, we have World Cleaner, which adds in a command that, when used, will completely purify your world's evil biomes. And that wraps up this video. If you want to check out any of these mods yourself, then you can find the links to their Steam pages in the description. Thanks for sticking to the end. Be sure to like and subscribe for more Terraria videos like this in the future. And, as always, make sure to have a wonderful day.